Hi everybody, Dan with Fazio's Music in St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, I'm Donovan with Springfield Music and Ernie Williamson Music in Southwest Missouri.
We're reporting from the NAMM show here in Anaheim, California, 2017, and we're checking out some of the new stuff at Taylor with Mark.
Yeah, right on. So this year we have something for everybody, we really do. And it's all going to start with this Academy Series guitar that we're going to talk about. Basically the last 3 years we have redesigned virtually all of our series of guitars. And in so doing, we've come up with some manufacturing processes that are a little more efficient and has really kind of paved the way for us to make an instrument like the ones I'm going to show you today. With the Academy Series, we wanted to create a guitar that was going to lend itself really well to somebody that's brand new to playing the instrument. You know, we all know what it's like when you first play, how difficult it is, right? It's very challenging. And so at Taylor, we're all about trying to create more guitar players because, quite frankly, the world will be a much better place with more guitar players. I think we all could agree on that.
Absolutely.
Right? And so we set out to say, well, what does a new guitar player need that they're not getting? And often you buy an inexpensive guitar and it's going to have high string height or action as it's known as. They might not stay in tune well, or they might not sound good, or they're big and bulky. And really the playing experience isn't very gratifying for a new player. It's very challenging and difficult. So we wanted to really solve for that and make a guitar that's going to give a new player every possibility to succeed with the instrument. So enter the Academy Series. We started by 3 things that we really wanted to do. Andy Powers and the design team, they sat around and they said, what do we need? We need playability, durability, and affordability. So those 3 things. So to solve for playability, they wanted a guitar that would play really well as easy as possible so that somebody would not have to struggle with it when they're first learning. Playability. Our nut width, 1/11/16, it's a little bit closer together. The strings are a little bit easier for smaller hands or less experienced hands. Our string length, also known as the scale length of the instrument, is a little bit shorter. And when it's shorter, the string flexes a little bit easier to press down. Same thing with string height, or also known as the action of the guitar, is very low, and we paired it with a low, or light gauge string, I should say. Now, light gauge string, again, everything left hand is very, very simple on these instruments. So the next thing, this is the part that's going to blow your mind. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
Right? Everybody looks at that and they're like, wow, what is that? So this is called an armrest, and we save this typically for our premier guitars because it's a very it takes a lot of time basically. It's a lot of work, and it's kind of dangerous work because you have a guitar that's pretty much finished. You have to go back and carve this out, and so it's very labor intensive. And on this particular guitar though, because we have no binding on it, Andy was able to design a process in which our machines can do this for us, which basically puts it in at a much lower price point, which is great. And who needs an armrest? A beginner, right?
Right.
You know, that's usually something that is a playable feature. So by having that armrest there, it sets your arm up in the right spot. It's comfortable. You can play for extended periods of time without getting tired. Keeps your arm off the top of the guitar, so you're not muting out the top of the guitar, resulting in a better playing experience and better tone, quite frankly. So all the playability stuff was really covered on this instrument. And the idea was, you know, let's give the new guitar player everything that they need, but nothing that they don't. So there's no bells and whistles on this guitar, but from a playable standpoint, our NT neck, if you get any version of these guitars that have E after it, that stands for electronics, you can get them with electronics. So the guitar I'm holding here is called an A10E. The A is Academy, the 10 denotes our dreadnought body shape, and the E for the electronics. It's great for singer-songwriters, big bold strumming, any kind of just jamming out. It's a great guitar for a beginner in that capacity. We also created an A12, and a 12 is based off of our Grand Concert, which is our smallest full-size body shape. Great for fingerstyle, lighter touch stuff. So maybe a smaller person might appreciate it a little bit more even, a little more comfortable to play. And again, you still pair it with the armrest and all the other features that this guitar has in playability, and you have guitars that are really comfortable to play. Finally, we've added an A12N, which the N stands for nylon. So we have a nylon string version of this guitar as well, which would be great for, obviously, a new student, but even somebody that maybe just wants to dabble in nylon string but doesn't want to get something super elaborate. It's a great sounding and great playing nylon string. And the difference between our A12 and our A12N is simply that the neck on the A12 actually goes into the body at the 12th fret, so it's called a 12th fret guitar, as opposed to the other guitars, the neck always attaches at the 14th fret. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes with a gig bag. This guitar, the A10, is going to be available in March. The A12s will be available in April. And the cool thing is the A10 starting point with no electronics starts at $499. So it's ridiculously inexpensive for a guitar with this logo, gig bag, and it has the playability and tunability of this instrument. It just sounds great, plays great.
I think one of my favorite benefits of this guitar, I mean, you guys have put a lot of features and a lot of things in there to make it such a tremendous value and a great guitar. But traditionally, when we're in that kind of price point, maybe that sub $500 price point, kind of that entry level price point, someone begins with that guitar, and then as they want something nicer, that guitar has no value to them really anymore. Like it's because it doesn't play as well as the better guitar.
Right.
But this would be an instrument that a player could get as a beginner and could keep for life because it plays so well and sounds so good. I mean, this would be a great guitar to have as like your living room guitar or to take it to the beach. Like, so you can start with that and you keep it. I mean, you have it forever.
That's right. That's the
and you get your
durability
next
thing.
Taylor and you move on up, but you still would want that guitar would still have a place in your collection.
That's absolutely correct. So
it's
that's
really cool.
That's well said.
Absolutely.
The final point, that I would tell you guys as dealers is this is a guitar that if somebody comes into your store and they're looking for a guitar in the $300 to $400 price range, they're going to get exponentially more by maybe spending another couple $100. They're going to get a guitar, like you say, that's going to be for life, and it will ultimately become that second guitar, but a very usable second guitar.
Yeah.
When you graduate. So that's well said. So this again is our Academy series, and it will be available at your guys' store, I'm sure, soon.
Awesome. Beautiful.
So what I'm holding here is our new GS Mini bass, and this solves for a lot of problems for a lot of people. First off, bass players are often not included in the conversation, especially in campfires and in backstage rehearsals and on the couch, right?
Hey, bass players are people too, man.
I know, that's what I keep hearing. So, so the end of the day, we wanted to make an instrument that we could be included in acoustic jams just around the house, whether a campfire, backstage. Think about vocal rehearsals backstage, which I do a lot of those. It's always one guitar player. You got a pile of vocalists, and you got the bass player playing air bass in the corner, right? Now he can join the fray. And bass players don't often have a really good choice for a couch bass also, something to sit and practice on. But another side of that would be the guitar player that has their recording rig, and they're starting to do their own recordings. And maybe they don't play bass, but they want bass tracks on their demos. Well, this is easy to get around. It's comfortable. It's more in a size that they're used to playing. And you get that comfort, and all of a sudden you kind of learn to play bass here. Again, you can graduate to a bigger bass should you want to. But the sound of this instrument with the electronics actually has a great sound for recording when you plug it in. It does come with electronics, so you can plug it in with a tuner built in. So it's kind of ready to plug and play. And one of the cool things I want to share with you guys is the story behind some of the innovations that had to come to pass for this guitar to exist, this bass to exist. And first was, in talking with Andy Powers, he was telling me how difficult it was to really find the right string for this instrument because it's such a short scale. It's almost half the scale length of a normal bass. So they went with to partner with D'Addario Strings, and they came up with a nylon core with a bronze wrap with their EXP coating, right? So it's a light string, it's got the right weight for the instrument, it's got the right sound with the bronze wrap, and the notes are very clear and articulate on it, which is pretty amazing.
It's a really loose and flexible feel when you play it, which as a bass player, that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not super tight and rigid, but it's it's got that loose feel that a lot of our favorite vintage instruments will have, and it's got that from day one. It's fantastic. Yeah,
it's similar. We're kind of sticking with the Academy series in that regard, that we want this to be somebody's first instrument. And talking with Andy Powers again last week, he says, the bass that we've created here almost is the perfect instrument for a brand new student in that you're playing one note, which is really the fundamental of a song. If you play a chord progression, just one note at a time. The strings are easy to push down. It's in a small, compact size. Little hands can play it, and you have to play rhythm as well. You can learn the notes on it. So there's a lot of, and then whether or not you go play bass or guitar, it doesn't much matter, but to get introduced to a stringed or fretted instrument, it's a pretty cool way to go. The other challenge we had with these bridge pins in the back, Andy had to invent these. It's called a dual-pronged bridge pin, and what that does is, we had a problem with the strings having to do a 90 degree over the saddle because it's too steep for a thick string like a bass string. So we had to kind of reduce that angle. And the way he did that was he created this little bridge pin where you got the top of it, these two little pins here, you push the string in the back, and then the bridge pin goes down and pushes the string towards the back of the instrument, so you can see it kind of relaxes that bend.
Yeah, so it's like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the neatest part about it is when you tighten the string, the pin actually opens up a little bit, creating tension, so it holds the pin in place at the exact amount of tension necessary when the instrument's to pitch. And then when you go to change strings, you simply loosen it. When you loosen that, the pin unlocks and it comes out. It's really easy to change strings. So it's brilliant.
Amazing.
So much so that we got a patent on it. So
a lot of innovations in that wonderful instrument.
Absolutely. And then finally, our posts here, when you have bigger bass strings, you have to have a larger post up here. So the larger post meant new machine heads, but the problem with the bigger posts is they typically come with bigger winders as well. And that makes the head of the guitar a little more heavy, looks bulky, doesn't look quite right. So we partnered with one of our tuning key manufacturers, came up with the bigger post and the smaller machines on the back. So you have this real nice aesthetic balance, but also very functional and works perfectly. And then the cool thing is, you just play it. this loud room.
Such a big
and
sound.
It's just a huge sound for a little instrument. So I think the GS Mini Bass is going to be a huge hit for us. And I believe these are available for you guys in March as well.
It's one of the most amazing acoustic bass tones that I think that I've heard, and to see that in such a small package, that combination of like the bridge, the innovation, the bridge pins, and then the strings. I mean, the strings really can't be overlooked because it's the thing that's really making that with that GS Mini body. It's tremendous.
Yesterday at the booth, our team could not put it down.
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
even non-bass players, like the rest of the guys are guitar players, but they're playing it and having fun.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, I was in a meeting last week with these guys, and in the meeting, I kept wanting to grab it. It's just sitting next to me, just haunting me, and it's a tough instrument to put
Everybody
down,
has a bass player inside, and this will help them let it out.
That's right. So what we have here is our 800 Series Deluxe, and this is really keeping true and giving something to our established customer base. We wanted to give them another offering of something really special. And we noticed that a lot of people absolutely love our 800 series. It's pretty much our flagship series. Right? The 900 series is an incredible series, much more ornate though, and there's a lot more to it. But some of those tone and comfort and playability features of our 900 series, we thought those would pair well on an 800 series, because we thought, well, somebody that doesn't want the more ornate finish of a guitar, and they want something a little more powerful in their 800 series, it's going to work well together. So we set out to create the 800 Series Deluxe, and there was three main things that we added to this guitar to really kind of change the overall output and the tone of it. The first is this new radiused armrest. It's brand new for us. Andy Powers designed it. It's a little more rounded than the beveled armrest, super comfortable, done with rosewood. So it's comfortable, it's beautiful to look at, but it also is functional in that it keeps your arm off the top of the guitar so that you're not dampening the top of the instrument, which is really great. It gives you a little more volume. And I think one thing that we all know is that when you play something comfortable, you play better. You sound better immediately just from the playability standpoint. But then from a tone standpoint, we did Adirondack spruce bracing on this instrument. And that's kind of like adding an extra gear to any guitar when you have the Addy bracing. You can dig in harder, you get more volume, you get more power out of the instrument. So when you pair that with your arm being off the top of the guitar and you've got the Addy bracing, this is going to be a louder, more robust instrument than our 800 series. Finally, we cap it off with these Goto 510 tuners, which have a 21-to-1 gear ratio on them. Our normal guitars have an 18-to-1 gear ratio, which is more than sufficient. They sound great, they work great. This is just a little more precise. It's for that guy that wants ultimate precision. So when you use them, they're a joy to use. They just work very fluidly, but they also stay in tune really, really well. So when you've got the guitar really tuned well, you've got the power of the Adirondack, the comfort of the armrest, it really takes the 800 series to the next level, hence the 800 Series Deluxe. And what we did on this guitar, we picked three body shapes to really put it on. Obviously our 814, our Grand Auditorium, that's our #1 selling guitar, over $1,000 price point. So we definitely did that one. So this is an 814 CE Deluxe, but we also did an 810E Deluxe, which is our Dreadnought with no cutaway. So that guitar, when you dig into that, it is just a cannon of an instrument. And then we also took it to the other extreme of our smallest body shape, our Grand Concert. We came up with an 812 CE 12th fret, which is again the neck attaching at the 12th fret. So that guitar is the guitar you just can kind of cradle around. But again, with the armrest and the Addy bracing, definitely a powerhouse for a little guitar.
Oh, it's a beautiful line of guitars.
Yeah, isn't that cool? So we're having a good year. So again, we've got our established customer base covered with our 800 Series Deluxe. Our GS Mini Bass covers bass players and beginning students. And of course, our Academy Series kind of invites everybody to want to play guitar. So I feel like we're doing the world a service this year more than usual. So
well, what's great is like someone can get in at the Academy level. It's such an affordable price point, but now they're part of the Taylor family. They're in the Taylor Owners Group. I mean, they're getting the wood and steel. I mean, they're a part of that group. And as they move along and add bass and move up to nicer Taylor instruments, they're still in the family no matter what level. That's really cool. I mean, I think that's one of the great things is to not only play a great guitar, because we all enjoy that, but to be able to do that with a company that also has great people and a great ethic behind it, and a great ethos, and support that makes it even more rewarding. And I think in today's world, that's something that's important to business people like ourselves and also our consumers, is to not only have great products, but to have those products support people that we really care about, that care about the things that we do. Taylor's a tremendous partner for that, so really glad to have that.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you guys coming by. That's awesome.
Mark,
Thanks so much.
you.
Guys, good luck this year, and you'll see all these. You want to let them know where they'll see all these guitars?
Yes.
Fazio'sMusic.com.
SpringfieldMusic.com, ErnieWilliamsonMusic.com. You'll find them in our stores in Springfield, Joplin, Kansas City, and St. Louis.
Right on.